right, and a few of you have asked how to do kind of a post workflow in Blender too, and I think a lot of this is fairly self-explanatory, but I still wanted to go through how you could do it. I've been doing it in After Effects usually, just out of force of habit, but this was honestly, looking into this, it was pretty fun. So I might start doing this in the future. But the most complicated bit is setting up a mist pass, and you could probably use a depth pass or something. But this isn't what you should do. This is just kind of an explanation of what I do. So take everything, I guess, with a grain of salt. To set up this mist pass, first we're gonna make sure we're in cycles here. We're going to go down to the View Layer Properties and check Mist, which will give us a new option in the World tab of the Mist Pass. But to see what we're doing with that, we have to go into the camera and go to Viewport Display and check Mist. And now we can see this is the area it would give us a Mist Pass for. So I'm going to go back into the World tab, and in the Mist Pass, I'm going to say just start right at the camera, because I'm basically just trying to get a depth pass out of here that I can dial in. And that includes the whole scene. And make sure it's linear, so all the segments will be separated like that. Okay, cool. So let's make this, okay, so that should be all set up. I'm going to turn this way down so that we don't have to wait very long here. Rendering out. Got it. Great. Okay. So now let's go over into... Oh no. There's a trick to this, then I've never learned it. Okay, let's go into the Compositor. Here we are, and nothing's there. We're gonna click Check Nodes. Cool. So we have our render going straight into the Composite, and this is kind of a secret reflection of like what happens, over here. This is just showing, hey, we have our render, it's going into the Composite. So whatever settings we change here are what are being changed there. And I showed how to make a mist pass for exporting over to After Effects in the other video, but we don't need to do that here because we've got everything we need right here. I'm going to click Backdrop, and that's going to show us kind of what is happening in the background here, but we can't see it until we say what we want to see. So we're going to Control Shift click on this, and that gives us this viewer node, and whatever we connect this to will appear in the background. The ways you scale the background are absolutely intuitive. Ha! You hit V. It's not. Oh yeah, you hit V and Alt V to zoom out and in. If you hold down Alt and use the scroll wheel on the mouse, you can pan around. So that's not particularly intuitive, but here we are. Also, apparently I can just grab it. Is that a new thing? Ooh, how do I let go of it? Maybe that'll just happen. Interesting. That's good to know you can do that. So first, the diffusion layer, which I love. I'm gonna put in a mix here, and I'm gonna plug in this into here, and in the middle here, I'm just gonna create a little blur. And maybe we do like a big old blur. And you go, why can't we see anything? It's because the viewer is still looking at the original render. So Control Shift click on here, and now we've got that. So we've got a nice diffusion. I'm just going to turn this way down, and now we have, just a little bit diffused, maybe too diffused, one could say. And I would not disagree. And what if we want to do like an actual mist pass here? We could plug. Let's do another mix and plug the mist right into it. And already you can see it's a thing. If I do a color ramp in here, I can kind of dial in, the ranges. Like it doesn't start until a certain point, and then it ends at a certain point. So that's kind of cool. And if you want to like tint it a certain color, maybe just warm it up just a little bit, that could be nifty. You just want to mix it in just a tiny little bit here. Cool. So yeah, that just adds a lot of kind of atmosphere to this scene. Let's add. You want to keep in mind the order that like things happen in real life. Like I'm gonna add a little lens dispersion on here, which is very 2010. But you want the lens dispersion to happen, you know, at the point when the light would be entering the lens. I see sometimes like the lens dispersion, the chromatic aberration happening on top of the film grain, which that doesn't make any sense because the film grain happens after the light goes through the lens. So I don't know if that makes sense, but yes. What was I doing? Oh yes, filter. Defocus, was that it? Distort. Yes, lens distortion. There we go. So I'm going to slip this in here, and you can make your dispersion so wild and wacky and fun right off the bat. But we probably only want like 0.01. Keep it classy. Maybe. And all that's doing, it's just offsetting, you know, some of these edge pixels a little bit. Just a tiny little bit. We can go a little bit nuts. This will be a bit much, but you'll get the point across. Nice. All right. And then, all right, let's try adding some grain. So film grain is a funky thing, and different types of film stocks have different types of grain, and it's people, you know, it has different properties if you're shooting in high light and low light environments, and it's very different than just slapping some noise over the whole image. But let's just slap some noise over the whole image. I'm gonna put this mix node here and make sure we're looking here with the viewer, and I'm gonna put in a texture. Let's see if we can just do color. But right now there's no texture, so let's go down here. We're gonna create one. I'm gonna call it such realistic film grain. And this is just going to be noise here. All right. So if I select this here, I think already, yeah, look at that. That looks like it just came out of your dad's old Magnolia whatever camera. If we change this to like overlay, you know, it actually works a lot better. You can maybe turn it up and it starts to look bad again. And that's because film grain is not just random pixels. And so let's actually blur this out a little bit. Filter, blur. I'm not going to blur it much. I think I'm going to do like blur it 2 pixels or something. And that looks pretty bad right now, but if we turn it way back down, it's not absolutely the worst thing ever. You get kind of this kind of look. So yeah, that's comparable to what I always do in After Effects, but it's just here in the Blender Compositor, and you just render this straight out. Make sure that the composite is plugged into the very last result, and yeah, don't know if that was useful, but there we go. Oh no, was I recording? Oh good.